Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Feno. I'm Malagasy. I'm coming from Madagascar and working with an NGO, AVSF, who was in charge to implement Scampis Madagascar. I was a coordinator of this project. A short information for you. Before Scampis, no knowledge, no technology, no conscience of micro-irrigation system in Madagascar. But after Scampis, after 3 years, we have now materials adapted to the local context. And this short period, and the supply chain with 3 small manufacturers and more 50 retailers of materials. And this short period allowed to 7,000 small farmers to use these materials with good results. And I tried to calculate to show you, because with 7,000 we can save 400,000 cubic meters of water. And now, this short period showed a growing interest for private and public stakeholders to insert a micro-irrigation system in the food security, in improvement of income, and in the natural resource management. And today, I am very happy to share you a story for a woman, a special woman, who is linked with our story. It's a story of Sister Antonietta, who is a member of one religious community. We know him in 2009 in installing one drip irrigation at this community. Because she was the first responsible of the set of demonstration. And she also is one of the 18 animators of one farmers association, Tinzwine. This farmers association have an objective, which is to out poor and vulnerable small farmers from the vicious circle of debt. Why? Because in this region, due to many problems, as a lack of source water, the poor soil fertility, and the lower access to land, and lower access to good market, almost, I think, 70% of small farmers are very poor. And their strategies to remedy this situation are less effective, like sharecropping, agricultural labor, and early sale of crop, and microfinance credit or loan money lenders. And indeed, with the political crisis, this situation was very important, because in Madagascar, Scampis Madagascar was born with a political crisis and growth with a political crisis. Until now, it is not yet resolved. And when Sister Antonietta now have seen the result of this demonstration, she was convinced that this innovation can help the small farmers of their problems. And he decided to promote this innovation into the member of this association. And when he started this action, she has already several difficulties. First, the small farmers didn't have money to buy the materials. Second, most of them refused to take the materials because due to the risk of steal of the material in the field. And third, the donor of this association has decided to stop its funding for the support of animation of an information for visualization about management of solidarity funds, because the main strategy of visualization is to improve the production process and to develop a small solidarity funds in order to increase step to step the production and the income of the small farmers. When but Sister Antonietta negotiated with Scampis a better price for material in order to permit our small farmers to buy, and we agreed, and so 45 small farmers has decided to buy the materials for €2 for 50 square meter, €2, and after all the farmers could be paid the materials, and after that we can show that one farmer can save 11 cubic meter water with the materials. And after in this and this with this progress, the association decides to increase the number of users, and Sister Antonietta has negotiated with us how to, with a dealer of vegetables, to search someone to buy the product of small farmers, and she was negotiated with the nearest resellers of materials if in order to have a facility of payment of materials, so that they have more 200 of small peasants who decide to buy materials. But after the production was very, very good, but there was a problem because the dealers didn't buy the products of small farmers, and they were obliged to sell the products at the local market with a bad prices, a lower prices, and the farmers said to sisters, "You are the first responsible of our problem, because you convinced us to buy the materials and to put us in relation with this dealer." And the sister has not abandoned. He sought over clients in order to promote the commercialization, the marketing of small farmers. And this year he found someone, an NGO, who is agreeing to buy the product with a contract with small farmers. But after in 2009, when I asked sister, "Do you want to use a travel pump?" She said me, "Why you ask this question? Because in this region we have already a lack of water, and if I convince small farmers to use a pump, I incite them to waste water. And it is, do you know that water is our life? And it's why, if we, with the materials, we just, do you see? Ein and ram, it means water is life. Because, and when you, we made with materials, we called her, what do you want to put in this material? And she said, Ein and ram, water is life. It's the key message, the first lesson for these sisters, who is very important for us. And Marloran, that means multi-water source in Malagasy, multi-water source. And for sister, if we must write anything at the materials, Ein and ram, water is left, because there sometimes there is a mistake for almost of population of factors of stakeholders when we talk about micro irrigation system, we talk only income or time, but we talk not sufficiently water. It is very important lesson that we take with the sister. And this year, she would be transferred by another regions. But she said, I have to continue. I have to continue with the small farmers, the poor small farmers. And he negotiated with his superiors in order to postpone his assignment, and their superiors agreed. 2 weeks ago, I said I met him, and she said to me, Mr. Fen, if you have to decide to stop your project, over projects, I have decided to continue my story with the small farmers, and this is the second lesson that I take with this sister. What is the key message for the story? I think that small farmers don't waste water, but they can be key actors in order to who permit us to save water. Because of Madagascar, 80% of Malagasy are rural farmers, and but in order to help them to save water, to improve their income, you need a complementary and gradual support, technical, psychological, indeed, and means support, marketing support, indeed a political support that it is missing in all the country developing. That's the principle, the main lesson that we take. And to close my presentation, it is hard for me to speak in front of you in English, but I try to do it for Sister Antonetta, because I think that speaking English in front of you is less difficult than the work of the sister. And it's a great pleasure for me to share you this history. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you. And I'm sure Sister Antonietta will be very proud of you. Lova.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning too. I am Lova Andriamanalina. I am from the capital city of Madagascar. Today I want to tell you my story. This is a story of 4 lifelong friends, neighbors since childhood. We were educated together. At the graduation, looking for improbable jobs, we decided to turn to agriculture. We asked for land nearby and started with a 3-hectare lot in Ivat, in Antananarivo suburb. We therefore turned to the planting of tomatoes, hoping to get favorable results. My friends and me, we started as farmers. We encountered water and irrigation problems for our crops. The micro irrigation kits from India that we tried to use didn't work for us. We adapted them to our needs and it worked. After 2009, we started our small business to manufacture and sell our kits to Malagasy peasants and farmers. We are successful among farmers in our country. Our kits improved their farming. To expand our business, we are looking for partnerships and new market in Madagascar and abroad. Therefore, Our main occupation was to obtain information on planting and producing tomatoes per hectare. Fertilizers we used and the crops were monitored. The plot was on a slope, the plants should be watered every day. The upside was jobs created in the small town. Indeed, watering required a local workforce as it should be done twice a day. Then we began looking for a solution to a critical issue that was watering. After a brainstorming group, the idea was born to use the drip form materials at low cost on site. It was the most that the small company needed. The people dreamed then at harvest time to be profitable, but that year a killer disease devastated the tomato plants in all of the capital and the surroundings. It was then what we learned of existence of Scampis and its demonstration in the locality. Out of curiosity, we came to attend the demonstrations. We are very interested. Then comes the time of discussion and partnership with Scampis, which proved very successful. After the tomato ground, we became kit manufacturers and started in Overgree. For what we manufacture, we corrected and have made changes to the kits. We obtained local unity for our material assembly in Antirabe. We now have 5 permanent staff and 15 seasonal workers. Farmers benefit from their kits. We are less dependent on the rain. We are less vulnerable to climate change and drought. We have stopped using water well for our crops. We can use water more efficiently, and kit cost is affordable for them. We aspire to expand our current activities and outlets. We are recurring water problems. At the same time, being a pioneer on micro-irrigation, Innovaki hopes to obtain state or other sources subsidies, knowing that the water problem in Madagascar could be partly resolved with our system. Innovaki prepares to face alone in the future challenge of establishing the implementation of the extension of our micro-irrigation system throughout the island. Challenge may be encountered because the Scampis project has finished. Some customers are not willing to pay their purchases. Having worked closely with Scampis, Innovaki will need to be autonomous. There are nevertheless some positive points as opportunities for all to make sales more interesting. We accept to develop new partnership following this World Water Week event. We are open to share the experience. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we're going to finish the Madagascar group with Christian or Christian. Krista. Okay.
So, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Christian Emerson. I'm engineer, agronomist, specialist in rural development and monitoring and evaluation. I'm come from Madagascar. Before I was supporting Scampis project in the implementation. Now I am working in a FAD project who supports land tenure and production. Usually I speak French, but now I try to share you my history in English. So today I have a great pleasure to share you a story about farmers in the south of Madagascar, southern of Madagascar, and micro-irrigation system scaling up with a national project. It happened in 2010 and 2011. To start the story, I like to share you a short video. In it, you'll show how is happiness and enjoy of farmers in the southern of Madagascar watching water for agricultural and how water is crucial for their lives. Water is life. It is too the slogan of micro-irrigation system scaling up in Madagascar. So the strategies focus on two main aspects. First is the implementation by a local promoter. It is an NGO. Second, relying on material distribution chain. For the implementation, NGO IVSF build the capacity of promoters and key actors, ensure relationship with manufacturer and the national project to for the acquisition of equipment and the establishment of distribution chains. And the IVSF act as accompanist for local promoter and manufacturer in the implementation of activities. In the area, rural people are poor and affected by chronic hunger because of drought, while their main activities agriculture, and they are having major constraints compared to the availability of water resources caused by low rainfall, draining poorly of water sources, and drain of rivers. From the first demonstration of micro-irrigation systems, people are very keen to use the material and adopt irrigation systems. They are motivated by seeing the arrival of water in their agricultural plots, and they are also very pleased to able to produce food from lighter water resource that exist during the dry season. People using micro-irrigation system were able to produce vegetable, improve nutrition and food security in their families. Furthermore, micro-irrigation systems help secure seed production in order to reload the culture after drought, during which crops and production are destroyed and seeds are no longer available. But these people have problems in relation to the adoption of technology. First, micro-irrigation system is a new practice in the area, and technical capacity of farmers are still very limited. Then, the materials are not yet available locally, lack of distribution network, and finally, on the main problem of farmers is their low financial capacity. to purchase materials. From these facts, technicians and farmers are trained in the microirrigation system control, and materials are supplied and subsidized by a national project funded by IFAD. The name of the project is Europa. And more, the lack of water resources a major obstacle to the adoption of microirrigation system in the area. Otherwise, the microirrigation system is alternative to improve the resilience of farmers faced to the effect of climate change and water scarcity. Microirrigation is also a means that can help people to increase food production and improve food security through the effective management of water resource. Water is crucial to the survival of farmers in the southern Madagascar. So improving management and water availability should be a sustained effort to eradicate hunger and improve the lives of farmers. Now, the main challenges are found by increasing number of farmers, integrating microirrigation systems in their production system to improve water management, coping fast with climate change, improve food security, and income household. But constraints are also to overcome for sustainable adoption of microirrigation system. There are the low capacity of farmers, access to technology, and the low water availability. Moreover, the enthusiasm of farmers to technology, the government interest, and other stakeholders constitute an opportunities for scaling up and adoption of microirrigation system in the area, which is materialized by the agreement of Europa project to continue the promotion for 3 more years. And last, scaling up is now possible in Madagascar thanks to the achievement and the experiences of Scampis. It is the end of my story. I thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much. And thank you for making a special effort to deliver it in English. We very much appreciate it. Questions, comments? Yes.
Thank you. My name is Ruth from Water Services Trust Fund in Kenya. As a fund, we exist to mobilize and channel resources to water supply and sanitation and water resource management. So the person looking for partners, we could probably exchange notes after this on that one. My question is, I'm listening to about your project and your program, and I'm trying to hear some statistics. For example, how many farmers have you reached with this program? How many farmers are participating? How many lives would you say have been impacted by what it is that you're doing in Madagascar? Some statistics, some numbers. Thank you.
Thank you for your questions. Ok. Si je n'arrive pas à bien répondre, je demande à Rodolphe d'interpréter un petit peu. Because je peux parler en français pour éviter que j'oublie quelque chose.
Elle a demandé les statistiques.
Oui, je sais. Oui.
Combien de...
Yes. Now, after years, we have 9,000 farmers around. And in these 9,000 farmers, there are 2,500 clients, very small farmers, clients, who can buy the materials with the resellers, the 50 resellers. But the other is the other small farmers who is supported by the other project like Europa, like FAO, for example, like the small NGO who is intervening in the other our zone of intervention. Because we, in our strategy, we have many three principal actions. First, to develop the marketing action of materials, and two, to facilitate the access of small farmers of these materials in front of partnership with other projects, with other like FAO, other institution like FAO, and indeed with the economical operators who is working in agricultural, contractual agricultural, who is supplying materials and input for small farmers and buy the materials after.
Okay. Other questions, comments? Yeah? Okay. Now, there were some questions that were asked, which I think everyone probably can benefit from having another round of discussion. One of it was the question that Yap asked, the rate of return. So we have about 20 minutes, and in this 20 minutes, what I would like everyone to do is I'm going to read out the salient points for me, very, very personal ones. Things that perhaps all of us should be thinking about before we leave this room, and come up with a commitment that each and every one of us will take to make sure that we are going to be applying these things or using these things in our next round of projects and programs. One is, how do we make sure that we do get a good rate of return? The other one is the rate of self-adaptation and adoption of the technique. The other one is the question, the controversial question, which is still unanswered, about the use of this blue water. This is going to run out very soon. What are we going to do about it? And how are we going to make sure that this technology also is being used by the landless, and how they can benefit from it? The eternal issue of access to credit, which is for us in rural development, it is, we're faced with it day in, day out. And how are we going to be coping with climate change, and how can these technologies actually help mitigate that? How are we going to be developing partnership, and how will we make sure that the smallholder farmers can enter into the market and get a good deal by selling their products in the local markets? These are some of the points that I picked up. So, anyone wants to pick any one of them and come up with a concrete action that you are going to be taking, or would you like to suggest? And don't be shy, because there is a lot of knowledge in this room. Yes, sir.
I think there's, just building on the same question about credit, I think there's a lot that can be done to work with banks and microfinance institutions and others to provide the right kind of credit that farmers need to be able to stimulate an expansion of small-scale irrigation. So I think one of them is to work with those institutions to determine what are the obstacles to providing credit, and then what can development organizations, the private sector, and others do to help create the incentives to make credit available.
Do you have an example where you've done this successfully that you can share?
No, we're actually starting. we're in October. We're starting this work in Central America. We're working with the existing banks and microfinance institutions to create to create the packages that are needed.
Okay. Is anybody in the room who can give some advice?
Thank you very much. So I will give advice, but I would like to come back about water quality and drip irrigation system, because I think it's an ID products are low cost, and this is very important to mention it. When you arrive in a country and you speak about drip irrigation, clogging is the first issue. Always, it doesn't work, something wrong, this project did not succeed, and you explain the story about Niger. I think the most important is adapting the product to the context. And I think that's something that, for example, ID with our tech center, we try to do. We really try to adapt to what is in the soil or what in peri-urban area about water quality, about clay. And for example, in Burkina, we have added second filters. And as Tapan was mentioning, the microtubes is something very important. It's simple, but for farmers, you just blows, sucks, and it's going out. So this is something very important. And I would like to really insist about drip is a very important technology, and it's not too complex. On the opposite, it's how the supplier adapts it to the local demand. So regarding microcredits, I mean, this is the biggest issue, and I think it's about subsidies also, where you go if you want to create a local market for micro-irrigation. This is a central question. Because or you go with subsidies or with NGOs, and you can scale up, but you get some issue about sustainability. Microcredit in, for example, in West Africa is one of the biggest concerns. You get interest rate of 10% for 6 months. Microcredits sometimes are not adapted to agriculture. It's mainly for urban activity, for commercial, urban, more easy with easier return on investment. So what we are working at is for working with retailers and building trust, because the retailers and the farmers, they know for 10, 15 years, and they know who is able to pay back and who is not able to pay back. And through a voucher system, we are working through this first. That's the first option. Second option is looking at return on investment. If you're sure about your product, you convince the bank. Our work is mainly with the bank and decreasing the interest rates, which are 10%, 12%, which is high, and going lower, and demonstrating, listen, we have a market opportunity for 25,000 kids. Do you want to be the first to engage with us? Do you want to try to work with farmers on longer term? I think that's a job. It's very complex. I will not say we have a solution, but we have already products, and we'll see. Now we are at our sale. I mean, it's the rainy season, and October, they are ready, those products. We'll tell you if it works or not. But I mean, this is something very important for market development and sustainability.
And sure. And I think part of the access to credit is also the gender issue. So, that also should not be underestimated. And my gender expert will be very proud.
Okay. Je peux demander à Laurent ou à Rodolphe de traduire. Parce que ah, les gens aussi à côté de moi. Parce que nous, on a essayé déjà de travailler avec les institutions de microfinance. Et le problème, c'est que déjà, à Madagascar, c'est, à ma connaissance, les matériels de micro-irrigation sont les seuls, les premiers à être mis en place en permanence dans les champs. Donc nous, on a eu des problèmes avec les institutions de microfinance qui ont eu peur de donner, d'accorder des crédits aux paysans parce que c'est très risqué, quoi. Et même les paysans, ils disent que c'est acheter des kits, c'est un investissement à risque. Parce que c'est pas seulement, il faut attendre quelques mois pour avoir les résultats, mais déjà aussi, il y a des risques de vol. Et c'est pour ça que moi j'ai dit que la problématique de l'eau n'est pas seulement une problématique des producteurs, c'est une problématique de tous les acteurs. Et nous, on a constaté même à Madagascar, avec les ministères de l'Agriculture, on parle moins des problèmes d'eau. Seulement, cette année, on a pu travailler avec les ministères de l'eau, qui travaillent avec les ministères de la Population, qui travaillent avec des gens très vulnérables, qui ont acheté des kits pour mettre en place chez des gens qui sont vraiment pauvres. Et nous, on a constaté que même, on a constaté qu'il y a plus de conscience chez les acteurs qui travaillent en dehors de l'agriculture que les acteurs agricoles même.
Quite a few entangled issues in what Feno just said. I'll try to sum up. That they have tried in Madagascar to work with microcredit institution, and it proved troublesome in many respects. One of them being the risk being taken by the farmers adopting the technology is regarded as high by the banks or the microfinance institutions. Also because there is an uncommon, I would say, in other contexts, uncommon risk of theft of the equipment in the field. That this you don't find in many other countries. It's very specific to Madagascar, so it's a big impediment. If I may add something of my own regarding the microcredit, I take advantage. I should not, but of course there's a role for microcredit to play, but after 30 years of efforts or even more, the situation you find in quite a few countries is that microcredit reaches at best 10% of the farmers. So it clearly is not a short-term solution. In Madagascar, again, just to take that example, a recent review of the microfinance issues, quite exhaustive, found out that about 3/4 of the farmers will never resort to microcredit for one reason or another, be it a psychological, financial, just name it. They will not use that means. So it has a role to play for certain categories of farmers, usually the better off, but it is not the solution for the vast majority of them.
Melinda Sundell from the Stockholm Environment Institute. Just to give you a pointer, there's a CETA finance project working in agricultural credit, micro, small scale, which has been very successful in Nicaragua under the Fonde Agro program, and has also worked on this issue of moving microcredit to real, excuse that word, but not to a real type of agricultural package credit. And it's also been involved in promoting drip irrigation.
Yes.
Okay, so Leonard Woltering again. You said, okay, how can we get this micro irrigation disseminated? I don't think this is the issue. The objective is to have better livelihoods and better nutrition and better income generation of those people. And what you see in all these projects, the trainings, all the things around it, this is actually what matters. And this is also what he said, it's not the right technology for everybody. If people have no experience in growing tomatoes with a watering can, then the micro irrigation will not make it better. It's not like a golden bullet. Then it's like giving a Ferrari to somebody without a driver's license. So you need to give it to the right people that are reaching the ceiling of what they can do with their production system as it is now. And they will welcome micro irrigation and they will adopt it. But people that have not reached those limits, they are not interested by the technology. They can be much better helped by improved seeds, improved cultivation practices, other things around it. So yeah, this crusade for micro irrigation, I still want to warn for it. It's just a tool.
It may be a tool, but it's an opportunity you give people. And I don't think one should underestimate the opportunity. Everybody can learn. So I think there is a humility in all of us as development workers not to have preconceived ideas about the areas where we move into, and just to make these blanket assumptions that, yes, in this country it will not work. So I think we all have to walk in with very much open-minded attitude. Other questions? Yes, ma'am.
In terms of one of the questions you raised, the partnership, I'm Liz Larson, I'm from Accenture. In Accenture, we have a part of Accenture called Accenture Development Partnerships, and part of that is bringing together our commercial clients and some of our clients that we work with in ADP to foster partnerships and do project management. So from that, we've done a project with Oxfam, scaling up their sustainable agriculture around the world in 3 different countries, and just bringing our expertise from our commercial side in how do we work with our commercial clients when they're trying to scale up a pilot project in whatever industry they're in, and then trying to apply it and work with Oxfam to see how that works for them and what needs to change in that model. So I think from the consulting side, that's something we can bring as our private sector experience.
Thank you. Yes.
Hi, my name is Lisa Bunclark. I'm from the Newcastle University in the UK, and I don't specifically have an answer, but it's more I'd really like to hear an answer to sorry, I don't have a question. I'd really like to hear an answer to Tony Allen's question regarding the blue water, because I do research on green water management, rainwater harvesting, and I'm specifically looking at Burkina Faso for my PhD study. And in some of the communities I've seen, lots of people say they've tried growing garden vegetables and using irrigation schemes, but there's just not enough water in some of these communities. So perhaps some solutions on identifying which communities it might work in and it might not, and perhaps the limitations to how far micro-irrigation can help.
You want to take that?
Thank you. So this is the spirit of Tony Allen, who has graciously left the room. Rudolf Cleveringa again, from the front bench to the back bench. The green or blue water debate is a very wide one, and as you seem to be rightfully indicating, there are areas where we should not encourage the use of certain resources over others. It's certainly not a blanket approach to, as Waltering was saying, to go for a micro-irrigation crusade. Where it may work, that's where it may work, and of course not at the detriment of the interests of third parties, and that includes the environment. Now that's more easily said than done. If I am a smallholder woman farmer somewhere in Burkina Faso and I see that opportunity, I really don't care whether someone upstream, downstream or side stream is being affected by my asset creation or my health or wealth creation. I mean, that's not my job. My job as a farmer is to first think of my livelihood and family. Now the regulator come into place, yeah, and the regulators in this case would be ministerial forces or departments or municipalities. If they find that indeed in a particular area there is water that can be allocated through integrated water resource management planning and all these wonderful processes to a specific purpose, which in our case is poor smallholder livelihood support, well, that is great, and then we need the policy dialogue to make sure that this happens. But if there is no such water, or the use of such water comes at such extreme cost, social cost for instance, that it's not a wise choice to be made, then I think the dialogue should also lead to the point, including the local stakeholders, that is not just, you know, some wise men in Rome or something, but to have the local dialogue come to a consequential choice, saying, no, this is not the area where this kind of investment is most promising. We definitely need to diversify out of agriculture or into other rain-fed options, or including, of course, small livestock development or other services. It's certainly not the answer Tony was asking for, but I don't think that there is, and maybe Francois, you can help me on this, I don't think that any of the major donors have done a global water balance on what their activities say cause in terms of either virtual water trade at global level or blue water or green water balances at lower levels. And you may have given us some food for thought, and it's always nice to have some you know, upcoming PhD that bothers the establishment and says, hey, do your homework, unless I want to do it for you. So thank you for suggesting that.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I just want to add, like he mentioned almost, it's using the appropriate technology for the area, simply. And not just using the technology, but teaching the people to maintain the catchment area. Even more important than the agriculture is maintaining the catchment area. Yeah.
Thank you. Other questions or comments? No? Okay. Now we're coming close to the end of the session. There is just one other thing I would like you to do. You all have in your wonderful bags that the organizers have given you a little notebook. So pull out that notebook and tear out 3 pieces of paper from that notebook, please. On the first piece of paper, please write, what is it that you learned today? On the second piece of paper, please write one concrete action or commitment that you will do as a result of this session. And on the third piece of paper, please write down what is it that you liked most about the session. And Cecilia will gather these from you as you have them ready. The number 1 was, what did you learn? Number 2 was one concrete action or commitment that you will make as a result of this session. And the third one is, what did you like most about the session? Actually, the ladies here will get them from you. Repeat it again? Say it again. Say it again. Okay, so number 1 is, what did you learn? Number 2 is a concrete action or commitment that you're going to make or to do. And number 3 is, what is it that you liked most?